Hello and welcome to Auto-Corrected, episode number 2. I am Patrick Thompson, aka Patrick Please One, and today's guests, we will start off on the table, starting to my left.
I am Christopher Carson. I'm the man who wants to go to the moon.
I'm your host, Axeonos. As always, just another one in the crowd.
And I'm Captain. I'm a bookbinder. I have no reason why I'm here, but I'm here.
All right, so we have a spaceman and a warlock today. That's awesome. No. So we came up with a format for the show, and that's going to be everybody gets 15 minutes to talk, but not completely on their own, obviously. It's more along the lines of just conversations from each person. And does anybody want to start off tonight?
The resounding silence is
Oh.
deafening.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love silence. You guys are so talkative.
I thought we were having a Simon and Garfunkel rendition here sounds.
Right. I'm actually wondering whether there's a market for podcasts of silence, now that you mention it. I mean, that could be kind of interesting. It's like the, heavy metal band performing that piece by John Cage.
Who's John Cage?
John Cage is an American avant-garde classical music composer who is perhaps best known for a rather whimsical piece, which is entitled, I think, 3 minutes 12 seconds, which consists of that length of total silence on the part of the orchestra. It's got time signatures and everything, it's just there are no notes to be played. Now, what I want you to imagine here is Glenn Gould performing this piece. Because, of course, Glenn Gould was infamous as a pianist for muttering and mumbling and tapping his feet and making various noises, which, in a good enough recording, you can actually hear. And so you could just imagine him sitting at the piano, sort of mumbling and tapping, sort of like you're thinking, okay, here I am trapped in Carnegie Hall with a homeless person.
There was an old movie. There was dead air, and DJ comes rushing back and says, "How long dead air? I can handle it." You've just been listening to the new LP by Marcel Marceau, Man Walking Against the Wind. Now for something more mainstream.
Well, of course, thinking of that, I have to remember the brilliant film done by Mel Brooks, of course. I don't think anyone else could have done it. Silent movie. In which, as those who have seen it will recall, the only line of spoken dialogue in the entire film is performed by Marcel Marceau, the famous mime.
Not his only movie speaking role, though. He played Professor Pym in Barbarella.
Ah, of course. I would say I'd forgotten that, except that I'd hoped to forget that.
I must be like completely culturally ignorant, but I mean, I know who Marcel Marceau is, but half of the movies I've never heard of.
Well, all I can say is if you've never seen Mel Brooks' silent movie, you should go out and watch it now. In fact, you should go out and get a time machine and go back and watch it about 10 minutes ago before I mentioned it, so you won't feel silly, because it is a really brilliant comedy. I mean, it opens with Sid Caesar smoking 2 cigars at once. I mean, it's brilliant. It's got everybody in it doing everything. It's got Burt Lancaster crushed by a steamroller, and all kinds of things that are just brilliant visual gags. I mean, singularly beautiful use.
It's a
of
toss-up
visual
between
comedy.
that one and Young Frankenstein, about what I think is actually his best.
I've seen Young Frankenstein with Gene Wilder. That's a good movie.
Yeah, they're so different, of course, because Young Frankenstein is black and white to begin with, whereas Silent Movie is glorious Technicolor, and it's just all physical comedy from one end to the other.
So it's like a big, long-running Three Stooges joke?
Older than Three Stooges. You're looking at Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton.
Harold Lloyd.
Harold Lloyd was,
Safety last.
or How to Set a Clock.
How not to set a clock.
Well, nowadays you set a clock and you're gonna get like the police. Just don't go to school. Don't bring it to school. No.
Yeah, well, and just in general, don't go to school seems to be the best advice now. Go to a makerspace instead. You'll learn something worthwhile.
Indeed.
Never put a digital readout. Make sure all the wires are the same color. If you do put a digital readout, detonation will not be at 0, 0.
Ain't that the truth?
I feel like this place lacks of clocks in a way. It's almost like a casino. I mean, clocks exist, but they're hard to find.
Well,
The
I mean, in the
clocks
main
in
room,
the-
we've got a big clock.
The clocks in the casino, the absence of clocks in the casino, are there for a good reason. If you look at a clock, you are immediately remembering what you were supposed to do and not gamble so much.
That
Yeah.
oxygenated air.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Is that a real thing?
That is a real thing.
I was always curious about that.
Now,
They add they up the oxygen content of the air,
mhm.
and you'll notice that all the tones from all the machines are in a happy major key.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's also a really... Back in the day when we had the Caesar's Palace fire, a lot of things changed. Back then, the way to get into the Caesar's Palace was through opposite side of walls. So basically, there would be two adjoining walls. You walk to the side and then walk into the casino. They changed that after the huge fire because nobody knew how to get out. And that's why a lot of
They
people died.
design choke points.
Yeah.
Not good.
No.
Yeah, nowadays the casinos are they've made very accessible, very open.
Yeah.
Precisely so that you can get the hell out if something bad happens. Of course, now I am imagining minor key slot machines. I'm imagining game machines that playing slightly unnerving music, and you're thinking, I don't know if I want to spend another...
I kind of want that. Just to, I'm going to Vegas next month to see my parents. If I don't go out there, they come out here, and we don't want that. And I kind of want that because out in Vegas, they are everywhere. I mean, you go into Walmart, you go into the grocery store, you go into CVS and Walgreens, 7-Eleven. They're everywhere.
Walmart has slot machines out there?
Out there, yes.
Everywhere.
Holy
And-
shit.
And you walk by these, and when I moved out here like 6 years ago, they basically there was nothing, and I couldn't go to sleep because I didn't hear the ding 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 ding, and I just sat there going,
So the absence was actually unnerving.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I will say a few years ago, the World Science Fiction Convention was held in Reno at some of the hotels there, which of course are casino hotels, all of them. Anyway, and flying into the Reno Tahoe International Airport, I was fascinated because, yeah, right in the middle of the airport concourse are these slot machines, and they've just got a little sign basically saying you must be 18 to use these,
Yes.
which I was just fascinated by. And yeah, otherwise they're ubiquitous.
They're, it's kind of interesting if you, I do like the idea of a low tone, basically really, really low as in, did you really win? Just, you have to wonder, does that money come with a cost?
Jangle, jangle, jangle.
Wouldn't it be funny, like, if you won at one of the slot machines at Walmart, all they paid you with was gift cards?
There are some that actually do.
Actually, that's not funny at all. I have this. So I recently I bought something at Fry's. I know, it's a terrible weakness. And they had a mail-in rebate. And as so often happens these days, the mail-in rebate came in the form of a gift card, which has all these weird conditions attached to it, which makes it very difficult to actually use the money. And there are places, including Walmarts, where people are being paid with these prepaid cards, which again are not fungible in the same way as cash. And to my mind, personally, I think that's classifiable as very nearly wage theft. It's larcenous. because it assures that you can't actually use the money unless you use it the way they say. I personally would rather be paid with an envelope full of cash at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Because that is something which you can use any way you want it.
Well, one thing, you have all these temp workplaces that are starting to pay, like they don't do check anymore, and you got to use their shitty prepaid cards that actually the company owns. So you get charged an ATM fee every time you use it that they get because they charge you on their card end, and the ATM also gets part of that money too for the service fee, which I think is ridiculous.
There's court cases about that very thing. Are we going to be corrected now that Otto is here?
Otto's only here for just a few moments, and then he ducks out again. That's basically Otto's way.
Are you guys recording?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Otto.
You can
One
sit
day
down and
Otto
listen.
will be one of our guests. Today's
Nice.
not that day.
Nice friends, Otto. I'm sorry. For those of you who've never seen the classic early 80s movie Repo Man with an insanely young Charlie Sheen, I'm going to just say, you get out there and watch that right now. So, Silent Movie and Repo Man, that's your homework assignment. If you haven't seen those, I don't care what else you've seen, I'm going to say that you're ignorant of modern American culture. Because, man, this car is hot. Oh, yeah, I mean, it was stolen. No, man, I mean, we're something like pigs. Just, that was actually, the executive producer on Repo Man was actually Dallas's own Michael Nesmith. Best known undoubtedly as the operator of the Liquid Paper Museum. And it appears to be true that a great deal of the dialogue in the film was ad-libbed. It's brilliant in the strangest way. And the fact that it ever got anything resembling a mass theatrical release really leaves you scratching your head.
I've never heard of that movie. I mean, I've heard of Repo Man, the genetic opera.
Yes, that's very different. Repo the Genetic Opera is a very different story. But yes, Repo Man, like I say, it's...
How many links do we have so far? I got like 8 written down. How many do you have wrote
I'm
down?
not writing down.
It's got, what, Harry Dean
I
Stanton
need
in it?
John Cage.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not writing down.
I'm writing links I need to drop. Last week, it was ridiculous on our first episode. Like, I couldn't remember all the links, and I didn't want to listen to everything again. So now I brought a piece of paper, like a human.
I don't want to have to listen to this thing.
Hey, maybe I should buy one of your books.
You should.
Humans, they occasionally have good ideas, although don't count on it. Speaking of...
I don't know. I think we should go off of that and make a instruction book for raising humans. Like you said earlier.
Can it just be completely,
humans kind of need food every once in a while.
Yes.
They-
Yes, humans need food periodically or they will stop moving.
I hear people complain about having kids sometimes, and
I'm not talking about having kids,
I
I'm
know.
talking about raising
But-
humans as in...
Karen feeding
Well, no,
the human.
I think of I think of you know, when somebody says, "Oh, kids are so tough," and I'm like, all you have to do is make sure it don't poop itself, feed it, and make sure it goes to school when it's time. I mean, how hard is that?
I think
said-
the answer can be unsurprisingly.
Like I said, or like he said, care and feeding for humans.
Maybe we should collab on a book.
And sadly, that brings us to something that we just found out last week. They closed down my favorite ride at Disneyland.
It's a small world after all.
No, they're keeping that one.
Space Mountain.
No.
No, the railroad thing.
No.
Dumbo.
Actually, this one was at Disney California Adventure.
Oh well, shit. I don't know anything about that.
It was, and sadly, we will not be able to ride it unless we go out to Florida, which they're going to take that one out too. If you've ever ridden on the newest one that they had out there, the Twilight Tower of Terror,
No way. Why are they taking that out?
Because
That's like
they're-
a staple.
They're putting in Guardians of the Galaxy.
You know, that's a movie I've yet to see.
I like that they bought Disney, or Disney bought Marvel, but don't take away my shit.
So wait, that's the ride, right? Where they have like a whole house and they crank it up to about 700 feet in the air and then drop it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
You know they made a movie out of that?
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy.
There's nothing that people won't make a movie out of.
With Eddie Murphy.
Actually, Eddie Murphy is coming out with a new movie called Mr. Church. I highly
Is
suggest.
it really a new movie, though?
It is a new movie.
Oh, good.
It is Mr. Church, and I swear to God that the previews for it, this might actually rekindle his career.
His
It
career's
is
good.
not a comedy.
Is it like Dr. Doolittle?
No, it is not a comedy.
Is it like Dr. Doolittle too?
Those weren't comedies, but it wasn't
Those were
intentional.
not comedies, no.
This,
All right.
Those were sad and pathetic. So it
okay,
wasn't
this
really
is
Dr.
not a
Doolittle too.
Disney remake.
That's a good thing. Okay, so we now have the next person, next victim. Who wants 15 minutes?
I've been talking all along.
Well,
You
that's
can
the
go.
point. I mean, it's not. It's just that person starts with the. Fuck it, I'll do it.
Don't you know you can't say that on the radio?
Well, good thing nobody owns a radio except in their car.
I'm here just for interjections. I do not do auditory.
Okay, so
Friends, Romans, countrymen, get me a beer.
exactly. So something I touched on last week, Mitch and I both touched on. I don't like that sentence. But anyway, was
So you were touching on Mitch.
You're the one speaking into the phallic object there in front of you. Oh my God! You can go further.
I know.
So is
I
there
know.
a video?
It was destroyed in the Caesars
It's going to be in the
casino
links
fire.
below.
Below what is the question? I think in this case the dwarves delved greedily in too deep. Link's farm goes all the way down to a Balrog.
It was basically, I want to take my time, at least this week, to talk about makerspaces. And part of that being Dallas Makerspace. Because we touched on it a little bit last week. I can't say that sentence with a straight face now. But, I mean, there's so much
That's about
here.
the private derby car.
Do you think that Sauron has an internet presence with a Balrog role?
So I want to start off by asking everyone here. My personal favorite aspect of Makerspace is getting to meet great people and being able to learn amazing things. Like if it wasn't for this place, I wouldn't have met anybody here. And each of you in your own way has helped me or taught me something along the way of me being a member here since February. But my favorite aspect has got to be...
I'll have to do something special for your anniversary.
I know, right?
Does it involve Mitch and touching?
Touchy.
That has a range of his own.
Oh my God, you guys are relentless. But yeah, I mean, one of my favorite aspects is how us as members here at the Dallas Makerspace we do get a pretty big say-so in what happens in this place, even if it's got to go through a board. You know, with enough people rallying behind one of our ideas.
It's okay, we've got the saws and drills and everything that can go through a board.
It's true. Yes, they call it do-ocracy, which actually translates to if nobody's willing to do it, it don't get done. Which actually turns out to be a fairly effective way of running an organization like this. If you ignore something for long enough, Brooks will make sure it goes away.
Especially if it's in the fridge.
Yeah, well,
anymore.
no, that's Beth.
Beth is now in charge of the fridge.
That would be Captain's wife.
It would be nice to get my Cokes back. But they are gone.
That's far too late.
You got to play a country song in reverse. You get your wife back, your truck back, your house back, your dog back.
I'm going to agree.
You know what happens when you play New Age music backwards, though?
No
you get
idea.
New Age music.
It's true. It's true.
Also, when you dub it at double speed, same thing.
So
what you're saying is that it's fractally self-similar, and
Yeah, absolutely.
and time invariant. And you know, fractal self-similarity and time invariance are very important mathematical properties for encoding information, which suggests that perhaps New Age music is actually part of a sinister conspiracy.
We already knew that, though.
wow.
If you'd come to the meetings, you would have known that, too.
Oh man, they're always just so inconvenient. I mean, first I have to find my way under the pyramid. I mean, why can't they be held at the top of the pyramid?
Because
So-
there's a sightseeing tour there now.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So Chris, what's your favorite aspects of Makerspace?
Aside from the pyramid?
I'm killing myself.
To be fair, we do not have a pyramid yet.
This whole place is a pyramid scheme.
Well, you know,
They get you in the door and then they sucker you for money. No, I'm kidding. It's actually a great place.
Yeah, so actually, it's interesting. A lot of us, I think, manage to get more out than we put in. I'm not saying that you can, use it as a way of, farming money, but just that the
Or laundering
tools.
money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, laundering money. We don't have washing machines. That's one thing we don't have is facilities for cleaning much of anything unless you like sandblasting. And trust me, if you put a dollar bill under the sandblaster, it just disintegrates into a mass of green slime.
Links in the little doobly-doo down below.
Please don't say that. I don't have a link to that.
You will.
Yeah.
I could get you several leaks to money laundering. Most of them say don't do it.
Yeah, it's funny, but no, the Makerspace, it provides you an opportunity to do all kinds of things that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise just because it isn't practical. I mean, like I say, we've got a sand blaster, we've got all kinds of things that you wouldn't actually want in your house, even if you had the money to buy them, and particularly the variety of things. Anyway, so there's that. And then if you actually have something, a skill or something that you want to teach, there's also that great advantage that you have kind of a ready-made audience. So for example, I do various classes, right? Introduction to Atomic Energy is an example. There are topics that people are interested in, but most of the time, all they can do is sort of read Wikipedia, and generally speaking, it's not a totally self-motivating activity. So instead, if I come and I say I'm going to have a class on X topic, people who think, I'm kind of interested by X topic, but I've never really bothered to sit down and do a bunch of research about it, will say, hey, here's an opportunity for me to go and see what this guy says and see if he's just full of sound and fury signifying nothing, or whether it's actually interesting and I could delve into the subject a bit more. So, that's a sort of elementary consideration. And then we have a lot of more hands-on classes and activities, neural electric interface working group.
Was that a thing?
Yes,
That's a thing.
it's NEIWG.
You
You'll see
recognize
abbreviated.
it, Newig.
Oh, I thought Newegg was like a tech website.
Yeah, no, it's confusing because people are saying Newegg meetup, and you're thinking, so these are all the people who order electronic parts from Newegg? No, it's people who are attempting to build prosthetic limbs with feedback that will take over your brain.
It's the same thing with the people who do, like, Perl.
There's like
But-
3 people that show up to that.
That's like the
But-
most expensive programming language, right? The Pearl of Great Price?
But they have different... There's also purling. There's
Pearl
also
programming?
purling and knitting,
Yeah.
knit and purl.
Pearl
So
Great
when I
Price.
showed up to the meeting,
Pearl.
thinking it's a knitter's
Great price.
circle or something like that, I'm like, what the hell are these people talking about? This ain't knitting.
It's,
Yeah, I can see
branch
how
off
that would be.
Star Trek, the episode is Jim. Yeah.
I can see how that would be awkward.
Yeah, I did not get anything out of that other than confusion.
Although I'm sure that if you started to stab the computer with knitting needles or crochet hooks, something interesting would happen. But it might not be something you
It
wanted
let
to
all
happen.
the smoke out.
Yes, the magic, infamous smoke.
The magic smoke.
The magic smoke.
So, what about you, Axie? What's your favorite aspect?
The people. The people are interesting, especially on Thursdays when they have the open house, because otherwise I can't people watch.
I feel like people get more normal. Like the existing members try to act more normal on Thursdays to not scare away the new weird people that are coming in. That way we can all be weird together when they join. And then I gave a tour today to one guy. And I dropped the F-bomb 30 times, and he was just happy.
Okay.
I honestly forget every Thursday that it is Thursday, and
You
as
never
soon
could
as
get the hang of Thursdays.
no, I show up and I'm like, why the hell can't I get a parking spot? Oh, it must be a class, and then I get inside and I'm like,
Oh yeah, it's
son of a bitch.
And it's time to get suckered into a tour.
So you would say that the community aspect of the Makerspace is the thing you value most highly.
What community?
Oh, yeah. I'm kidding about dropping the F-bomb 30 times. It's more like
No, you're
60.
I've heard you talk. You're not.
Shut up.
29 times we fought that beast.
I just got that one song. I think it was John Henry. The song John Henry. No, Big Bad John. From every country artist from the 60s ever. I'll link it.
And then along came John.
That's
Yes.
another one.
Big
I think that one's
John.
on Patrick Stewart's new album too.
And now I'm imagining William Shatner and Patrick Stewart doing duets.
That
find
would
that
be
one.
terrible.
Now Patrick Stewart did the promo for it. Whether he did the actual record, I'm not sure, but for I think it was Red Nose Day or Children in Need or something like that.
Yeah.
He did a complete, new from Ronco album.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Stewart sings country.
Well, did you hear Rick Moranis' country album?
No, I didn't
It's
know.
really quite good.
I thought Patrick Stewart was doing a wonderful job on most of them.
But it turns out that Rick Moranis always had an ambition to be a country singer. And so a few years ago, he just put out a country album, which apparently is something you can do if you know a bunch of people in Hollywood.
Jeff Bridges also has a country album. And it's actually really good. I've heard it.
But,
I'll link it.
but yeah, I think that the song that I remember off of it is 9 More Gallons, which is funny. It's like 4 more easy pieces, 3 more 100 blows. Anyway, it's very amusing.
Sounds like Harry Hines,
Are you
300
sure-
blows.
Are you sure that's a country song and not a Celtic song?
Well, there's that.
Sweet Home Alabama, where the skies are so gray. Sweet Home Alabama.
Sweet home Alabama, play that dead band song. Turn that music up full blast and play it all night long. Thank you, Warren.
I always sang it, I live at home in a trailer. Because that's what I think of when I think of Alabama, was trailers. So, what about you, Tim? Your favorite aspect of this magical, wondrous, weird place?
There's no deadlines, no need. There's a desire to do, but no need.
Fair enough.
You find something you want to do, go do it. But you don't have to. You don't have to do something just because you're here.
Unless you're being paid to do it.
Well, when are you being paid here?
Well, I mean, not here. Maybe you're here doing a project that you're being paid for.
Yes, but then you're just here for another reason.
And that's generally not a good idea anyway, because somebody else is guaranteed to be using the tool you use.
Absolutely.
Either that or it just won't be available.
That's why you show up at 3 in the damn morning. It's,
Oh no, that's the busy time.
no.
7 in the morning. That's the dead spot.
Oh, yeah.
A dead spot is usually like 3 to 5. 3 to 5 in the morning is good.
That's just because everyone is down at Sunshine getting supper.
Exactly.
Hardly anybody's here between 9 a.m. and noon.
Well, let's just announce all of our dead times for everybody.
Yeah.
The number call.
Well, I mean, there is the golem. I mean, you got to be careful of the golem, which haunts the place when there's fewer people around. If you're trying to break into the place, you'll immediately discover that there's this thing. So it turns out that Roombas actually can mutate. I don't know, man.
So is the first step to teach the Roomba Yiddish and then...
Yeah, it's kind of complicated, yeah.
To be fair, recently there has been a Roomba that went through dog poo and did an entire sweep of the house, streaking dog poo all the way around. The person who owned the house made a diagram and was sure enough to use brown when he used Photoshop to show exactly the way that the Roomba went throughout the entire house. And yes, Roombas are alive. They know.
And they hate you.
Is this online? Like, can I link this? Because I want
to
to.
link. It will be in the doobly-doo. If you are wondering what happens when you have a dog and a Roomba.
Of course, someone strapped their smartphone to the Roomba to hatch eggs for Pokemon.
That's not a terrible idea. My idea was to put a train track around the top of the Makerspace and just put phones in it, just to go. With battery packs in the cars.
No, mind you, I mean, kittens sitting on Roombas jousting is apparently a favorite sport of the internet.
I like that one. That's good.
But no, I mean, well, of course, there have been a bunch of proposals, including mine, to run electric train layout around the ceiling for moving various things around, or telepresence, or some other bullshit reason.
I'd love to have one of those tube things that go from one area to another, and just like they have at the bank.
Yes.
Pneumatic tubes.
Yes.
Tim?
Pneumatic tubes are fun.
Tim, you're up to start.
Oh, goody, and I've got pneumatic tubes. Why not? I always like the concept of using the pneumatic tubes as a people mover, which have been...
Like the
shown.
Jetsons?
Like
In the
Futurama.
Jetsons, I think...
Jetsons did it.
The Shadow had an entire network
Mm-hmm.
in that movie.
Who knows what evil
And
lurks in the
I'm
hearts
not
of
going to
men.
link the Jetsons, because if you don't know who the Jetsons are, you should probably just go jump a bridge.
Wasn't that a band?
You're thinking of the Judsons.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were thinking about
Judsons.
Jin and the Holograms. But
Damn it. What was the movie you were saying before I interrupted?
The
with
Shadow.
The Shadow. That's what I was writing.
It's also a comic book and a radio show, and
Oh, wait.
they had a brief television presence.
I think
The
actually,
Shadow.
I think they did a movie serial in the 40s, which may have wound up on television later.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
The movie, when was that? That was in
Mid
the
90s,
yeah.
and it was fun. It
was
was
fun.
really fun.
It was really fun, but it flopped so bad.
Yeah, well, not my fault. I went to see it in the theater.
So did
I
I.
think you
Twice.
guys were the only.
But there's just so many brilliant things in that movie. I mean, the invisible skyscraper,
What?
the colorblind bomb defusing technician.
Cut the blue wire.
Is that the gray or the darker gray?
The one that matches your shirt.
My wife dressed me.
But it was really well done. There was a small group of pretty darn well done, less well known, I don't know if you'd say superhero, but comic hero movies right about that time. There was also a Phantom movie, which I can remember going to. Oddly enough, that wound up tied in with that really rather trashy Phantom 2040 animated series, which showed on Saturday mornings.
I like that. I like the Phantom movie and the 2040.
I'm just saying it wasn't very well done, quality-wise.
Well, yeah, because I kind of watched a few episodes of that with you, didn't I? A little bit of it, and it was hilarious to watch again.
Yeah, it turns out that either the pilot or some cut of early episodes wound up on Laserdisc, and I picked it up at the Half Price Books a few weeks ago and brought it up here to show it. And it just, well, as is not surprising for mid-90s Saturday morning cartoons that were not done by Disney, the animation quality and production values were just mediocre.
You get what you pay for.
Slowly declining.
If you need a dead media, people, Chris is your guy. He can get his hands on any dead media, any format.
I got a film projector out in the car.
I don't know how to take that comment.
Yeah, that could
Is that
be
8 or
really,
16?
really. That is not even as creepy as Patrick and Mitch touching last week. I have a
No, for that
film
we've got-
projector in my car.
For that, we've got to get the laser disc.
You
That's
know,
like saying,
you
would you
if you
like
get a
a
inflatable screen, you totally could like pop up and have movies anywhere.
Inflatable?
You've never seen the inflatable backyard screens that inflate to 80 inches?
I've just got a regular screen, you know, the kind that you set up with a tripod.
You have one of those in your car too?
No, I don't have it in the car right now because
Well-
it's hella huge.
But an inflatable screen takes up like part of a trunk.
That's true. They're very compact.
That'd be
You
pretty
just get
cool.
a whole screen.
It's 80 inches of fun. Like you could watch shitty anime in a park.
It's 80 inches of fun. Listen, man, he clearly knows what he's talking about.
Oh, God, foot and mouth. I'm going to put a link to inflatable projectors.
Inflatable projection screen. And
That's-
while you're at it, look up athlete's foot tonsils. And
Ew! Oh God, no!
that's what it's heading for, though.
You know, while we're at it, why don't you just add a link for 2 girls, 1 cup? Yeah.
No.
No.
In fact, I'm gonna recommend that be excised from the audio with a razor blade. And I realize we don't normally edit digital files with a razor blade, but I'm a find a way.
Actually, the cut tool on here looks like a razor blade.
Nice.
So,
Because
Well, if we're gonna-
animals
Party.
function.
Oh,
ooh,
there's
lemon party
Lemon party.
or meat spin.
No, do the one where the guy sits on the glass.
One guy, one jar.
Yeah.
That one's horrific.
You know,
There was sound.
it's interesting. The more internet there is, the less time I spend on the internet. No, you'll find me in the deep web. Places like the NASA Tech Reports server, downloading PDFs of reports on things like how to build a nuclear-powered laser.
How are you not on the TSA ban list?
He is.
No, I'm not,
Well, TSA.
I'm not on the no-fly list because they realize it's pointless. The list that I really aim to be on is it's that man again list. This is the list where they say, oh, crud, him again. Well, if he actually decides to do something, there's nothing we can do, so just leave him alone. This is really
Why do
the
you want
only
a
list that's
nuclear-powered
working.
laser when you could build a laser-powered nuclear pile?
That's different. So the question is, could you take your nuclear-powered laser and use it to do laser isotope separation of uranium? And the short answer is, a truly effective supervillain would find some way of combining the two concepts.
At this point, the 12-year-olds who have watched our video are probably like, what the fuck? It's like, what are they saying? Because, they don't teach shit in school anymore.
Remember, the tagline on my
It's
Facebook
not
page
in their
is...
safe space.
Yes,
My-
because everybody gets participation trophies and safe spaces. I can't
I am
stand that. That
one lab accident away from becoming a supervillain.
Only one?
Only
I'm already
one.
there.
Yeah, I'm just more like Igor, kind of.
Hey,
Igor.
hey. My monkeys fly.
Speaking
My
of which,
favorite banner. Not my circus, not my Oh, wait. I gotta go.
speaking of which, did you see the circus was in town?
Yes.
Oh, the Barnum and
Circus is always
Bailey,
in
or
town.
Well, as I was leaving by train last week to go to the World Science Fiction Convention, which this year was in Kansas City, Missouri, because Kansas City, Kansas, as it turns out, is not an important place at all.
I've been there.
I
It's
was
terrible.
at the train station, and what should happen to pass by but the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, the greatest show on earth, circus train, or at least the part of it with the trailers and so forth. I think they have a separate train with coaches and so forth for the actual people
I'm not liking the
who
circus.
perform in the circus, but it's the equipment train.
If you don't know Barnum and Bailey, you should
Yeah,
be
and-
on the web.
It's like the Jetsons. If you don't know what a circus is, I mean, please find your nearest bridge and take a leap.
Right into an enormous pile of elephant poo.
Ew.
Or,
They don't use
rocks.
They don't use elephants anymore.
Yeah, the elephants have gone.
No, they really don't use elephants anymore.
They don't use elephants.
That was the
anymore.
coolest part of the fucking circus when I was a kid, was seeing elephants.
Well, guess what? They stopped.
They stopped. Are they still using the big cats?
They still have a small selection of big cats, but like
I know
it's
they're
like
getting further and
3,
further. They're
and they
trying
can't
not
get
to
any
do
more.
So,
any animals because someone will accuse them of being cruel.
Yeah, well, this is the interesting question. I mean, cruelty to elephants and cruelty to tigers tends to be kind of a self-limiting condition. I mean, there was a guy in Houston a while back, several years back now. They said they'd found his tiger wandering loose in the streets of Houston, and he was wanted for animal cruelty. And I'm thinking, cruelty to tigers is kind of a self-limiting condition. You leave your tiger neglect. Again, neglect of tigers is kind of something you can only do for so long, and then the tiger will find a way to deal with you.
Then you become lunch.
So I'm always thinking...
Now, if you have a place that can take care of the animals, like here in Dallas, we have a place called CARE, Cat Animal Rescue Education, and they take care of beautiful animals, and they actually even take care of the animals after they're dead and turn them into educational tools to show people this is what we do, this is how we care for them, and they have... I would definitely suggest checking out the doobly-doo down below for CARE, and just basically please donate to them because they do marvelous work.
I think a lot of the sort of weird safari park kind of deals do have something like that. I think Fossil Rim, for example, does some sort of wildlife refuge type of activities. Oh yes, Arbuckle Wilderness. That oddity in the Arbuckle Mountains, which are not mountains by any standard known to man, but they lie between here and Oklahoma City, so we thank them.
Anything between here and Oklahoma is good.
On the complete opposite end of that spectrum, right at the ass end of me moving from Tennessee to Texas, they opened up a hunting preserve full of exotic animals. Like, it was a 10 by 10 mile area, and they released cats, big cats, antelope, zebra, things like that. And it's like, I'm not like a PETA person or anything, but I don't think it's right to take exotic animals like that and hunt them for sport for absolutely no reason. And
Culling is one thing, but if they're endangered, no.
It's just kind of weird.
Well, I mean, even if they're endangered, even if they're not endangered, I still don't think it's right to hunt animals. I mean, if you need to hunt at deer, that's fine, because deers are rats with hooves.
There's a reason why their biggest predator is a large house cat.
Yeah. Exactly.
But deer are yummy. We like them.
I love venison.
But I'm not going after that thing either.
Not a wild one, no.
Just wait until it rains. I'll be stupid and flip their head.
Domestic turkeys, on the other hand, I don't know anything about they'll look up in the sky and drown, because the friends of mine who had domestic turkeys didn't get that far. It began thundering and lightninging, lightning? Whatever lightning does, it began doing it. And the turkeys all got frightened, and they piled themselves up into a pyramid, with the result that all the ones in the interior suffocated.
That's where the pyramid is.
That's a pyramid you don't want anything to do with. Believe me.
I bet you it's really warm in the middle of that.
Yes, that is another thing. That's the same way that bees kill wasps.
Yes.
Is by just surrounding them with a ball of bees until the temperature gets so hot that the wasps just
Wait a minute.
keel over.
Where did I see this? It was on Facebook this week. That's where I seen that. It was something about Japanese.
There's a Facebook equivalent of bees killing wasps? Because that would be great.
It's not a video. It was actually what you just said. How that happens about the Japanese.
Yes, anything
Hornet
educational, let's look to Facebook.
Well, no, I'm thinking, wouldn't that be a great way of getting rid of internet trolls? If you could just sort of pile around them until they just die.
I mean, you can do that with a bat.
Can we use this with the same concept with gentlemen? I mean, just think of a whole lot of women that surround this guy in a tribble, and just basically sit there and say, "Oh."
I think if he's in a tribble, he's already in trouble.
Yeah.
Treble.
Take the mortician weeks to get the smile off his face.
I'm going to agree with that.
one less frat guy, neckbeard guy. Just,
Hey,
ugh.
hey, what's wrong with neckbeards?
You honestly want to go down this road?
No, you.
Yeah,
don't.
no, I do. Her 15 minutes is about to start. So,
Yeah, my 15 minutes is going to be used on something else.
oh, okay, 2 minutes neckbeard problem. I want to hear this because I'm
Next
curious.
time.
I'm curious about the whole neckbeard thing. I like beards, but I
It's
mean,
not
Neckbeards are not beards. This is a
Neckbeards
beard.
are not beards.
This is not a neckbeard.
I mean, is mine a neckbeard? No,
No.
it's just.
It's the way that
You're
these
just
people
fuzzy.
treat women. And they say they're being a gentleman and stuff like that. It's creepy. I'm talking about these guys who think that they're wearing a fedora. That is not a fedora,
It's a pork pie, typically.
pretty much. These guys who say, oh, a white rose is just for love, blah, 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 blah. I
You
don't
mean
really
like?
care.
So you're describing a guy that looks like the dude on the skateboard video I showed you.
That's a hipster.
Yeah.
Oh. Doesn't it all fall under the same category at some point?
No.
Too many unattractive subcultures, you don't say.
It's like
Of course, I have a milliner
It's really
that
creepy.
refuses to sell me a pork pie hat.
It's
I just like the words
the red
pork
eye.
and pie.
I can see that. You wouldn't want somebody to come up to you and say, "Baruch atah Adonai," and say,
It's
What's
really
he talking about?
creepy when you are trying to
Uh-huh.
push your if she
Mouthful.
doesn't date me, she's a slut kind of deal.
Oh dear.
And
Isn't that kind of reverse?
pretty much.
I mean, because I'm just thinking, look at,
Yeah.
with these guys, I think, in fact, it's the other way around. If she does date you, I worry about her judgment.
pretty much.
I mean,
No. A woman has a right to date whoever the heck she wants.
Yeah.
including men who are in prison.
But
okay.
don't impose on her, and if she does not want to date you, guess what?
She does not.
She don't.
All right. 15.
So, for my 15, I am going to play a special song which we don't have the rights to.
Yay!
Dun dun
Yay.
dun.
Now,
Can we just hum it? No.
now,
Happy birthday.
for this song, I am going to go over the things that both last week and this week is going to be over the things that we are saying something about. So without further ado, I will start playing Brenda Lee. I'm sorry.
It's actually getting pretty good.
I'm sorry to John Cage. I'm so sorry to Marcel Marceau. I'm so sorry to Mel Brooks. We love your movies. You are an asset to everyone. From last week, I'm sorry to Donald Trump's penis.
What penis?
I'm sorry to those who love nostalgia cartoons. And if we did not list your cartoon, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to casinos and casino gamblers.
What about casino fires?
I'm sorry to Repo Men or Repo Man. I'm sorry to Mitch, who is not here, who got touched inappropriately with Patrick.
Now, where did the man touch you?
The court didn't say shit.
I'm sorry to Dallas Makerspace. I'm so sorry to money launderers. I am so sorry to Pearl and
Mongers.
Rick Moranis.
But Rick Moranis.
I am sorry to Roombas and the Judsons. I am so sorry to Kansas City. I'm sorry for where you are, and I'm sorry that there is nothing around you. Just look at your mountains. Oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry to Barnum and Bailey. And lastly, I am sorry to bees. Because they can honestly kill hornets. But I'm not sorry to gentlemen. Because they are not sorry for what they do. And that is the end of my time. Thank you.
Speaking
That was like the most entertaining 3 minutes ever.
of Kansas City, I'm just going to mention the thing they don't really talk about, because I guess they think it's kind of shameful. So if you're on the train going from St. Louis to Kansas City, the last stop before you get to Kansas City is Independence. Now, Independence, Missouri, at the depot, there's a big sign that says, "Birthplace of Harry S. Truman." Okay. There is not a sign that says, "Location of the earthly paradise according to Joseph Smith, Mormon prophet." It's funny, they don't mention that, even though you might be led to believe that by the enormous bronze-domed limestone structure which lies just behind the train depot, for which there is no sign or other indication of what it might be. So yes, Jackson County, Missouri. With, all respect to my friends who may follow various religious traditions, all I'm going to say is the idea of seeing the Son of Man coming in glory to Jackson County, Missouri has always struck me as a little odd. Frankly, I mean, for all that General William Tecumseh Sherman, who was certainly a world expert on this, said that he would prefer to live in hell and rent out Texas, to me, give me a nice place in the hill country west of Austin any day of the year. For one thing, it doesn't snow very much. I mean, in the Kansas City area, I've got an aunt who lives there. In the Kansas City area, they get a lot of snow in the winters, and that's not my idea of the terrestrial paradise.
Oh, yeah. Before the wrap-up, if anybody
Or
has...
the rapture.
Not the Rapture. Wrong episode.
Quickly, to the pyramid.
I will put everybody's, not emails, that's not the word I was going for, personal links for their websites and etc. And we never know who we're going to have next week. So is that pretty much it? Like, we get...
I could tell you about the World Science Fiction Convention if there's nothing else to say.
Next time.
Correct.
Yeah. Wrap up. No, I'm kidding. No, talk.
It's pretty cool. I mean,
Talk.
They say there's the sort of the thing that people like to say is it's a party with 5,000 of your closest friends, and certainly it is an opportunity to meet up with friends you haven't seen in a year or two, make new friends, assuming that you are like an Uber nerd.
So who did win?
I'm an Uber driver.
So there are Uber drivers, I'm sure. Well, as it turns out, the Sands won. So the 2018 Worldcon will be in San Jose, and I'm a little perturbed because they're calling it Worldcon 76, and the Helsinki folks call theirs Worldcon 75. Normally every Worldcon has a name. So this one, for example, was Mid-Americon 2. The original Mid-Americon was in 1976, and I assume that it was kind of chosen because it was the closest they could possibly get to the geographical center of the United States. For the bicentennial, you understand. But in any case, 75 and 76. 75 is going to be in Helsinki, Finland, for those of you who are keeping track. And then 76 will be in San Jose, California. Now, what else can we say about that? Well, because Worldcon 75 next year is going to be in Helsinki, there is going to be a North American science fiction convention. And the group that won the bid for that was San Juan, Puerto Rico. Now, there's only one real
Almost
problem.
as close as Helsinki.
Well, there's only one real problem. I mean, Southwest flies direct out of Dallas to San Juan. It's not a big deal. Or apparently there's a lot of traffic back and forth between the Gulf Coast ports and San Juan. And so you can stow away on a freighter.
I'll go back to San Juan.
I know about you can get on. But yeah,
Job maker.
my question, of course, and the question I think of a lot of people was, is San Juan going to be there in a year? I mean, between the Zika virus epidemic and the total disorganization of the finances, if they don't have running water and electric light and ambulance service by July of next year, I ain't going to go, all right? And in fact, I'm going to be following the progress of the government's mosquito eradication campaign with some interest, not because I'm afraid of the Zika virus, but simply because, I mean, if I were going to be microcephalic, I'd have done it by now.
What if I just get a giant toad?
That would be Naruto. That'd be an anime convention. But yeah, the concern I have is just that I get mosquito bites like crazy, and I don't enjoy that at all. And so if they're not working to eradicate the mosquitoes from Puerto Rico, I might not be able to go.
All of them.
So, with that, thank you for joining us on AutoCorrect.
I'm Patrick.
I'm the man who wants to go to the moon!
I'm Axeonos, your voice of the people.
And I'm Captain.
And thank you guys so much. And all the fucking 300 links will be in the description below.
Down in the doobly-doo!
Give yourself a big hand.
I have a big hand.